indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice for all.
Okay. Shirley's not here.
Yes, the only person missing is Kent Porter. Everyone else is present. Chuck Davis is joining us by Zoom today.
Okay. Fair enough. Next, second item was the oath of office.
Yes, we've got a new board member, Planning and Zoning Commission member, Chasten Parks. Please raise your right hand. Do you, Chasten Parks, solemnly swear that you possess all the qualifications of the office of City of Kearney as Planning and Zoning Commissioner as prescribed by law, that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the State of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of this class, and the ordinances of the City of Kearney, Missouri, and faithfully demean yourself in office?
I do.
Can you please sign? You got the oath of office in front of you. You can sign.
David, you accidentally.
Terms are normally 4-year terms, but we had one term that expires in 2024 that we had a vacancy. So his term will be the 2024, so a 3-year term.
Okay, fair enough. Welcome aboard, Jeff. Okay, next item is the consent agenda. We'll have a chance to look through it. And if so, are there any issues? Anyone? Chuck, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Any issues with previous agenda? I'll take that as a no.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. I second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that carries, Dave. Next will be new business for the Greenfield 6th plat, final plat. And David, if you want to give a...
Yeah, I can give staff comments on this final plat application. Jerry Seiler, representing GJM Development, who is actually represented tonight by Darla Holman, the engineer for this project, has submitted the Meadows at Greenfield 6th plat, final plat, proposing to subdivide 10 acres into 12 single-family lots, 1 commercial lot, and 3 open space tracts with associated right-of-way and utility easements. And I'd like to share my screen. We can at least pull the plat up. Ryan, is it possible to allow share screen? It may not be listening.
Okay, you can.
Okay, thank you. Give me a second if I can find my file. I think I might have closed it. There's the plat drawing. Okay. It should be visible to everybody. We've got 12 single-family lots around this cul-de-sac, and then 1 commercial lot along 19th Street. This is the same lot layout that we saw in October when the Planning and Zoning Commission approved an amended preliminary plat for this area of Greenfield. Extra right-of-way will be dedicated along 19th Street. You can see up at the corner with Greenfield Drive, there's a little narrowing of that right-of-way that will allow the right-of-way to match the southern right-of-way line of 19th Street further to the west. That's also the location where GGM Development, when they do the grading, they're going to lower a little bit of the trail. There's a little bit of a hill. If you pull out of that subdivision, there's a site distance issue looking to the east, so that should be taken care of as part of this project. Tracks B and C are located over on the west side of the plat, and those are along the Fishing River Trail. They'll be dedicated to the city for, as addition to the trail, those are some areas where we mow, we have some trees and landscaping that we maintain, and or some ditches where runoff collects along the sides of the trail. That's the same thing that was done in previous plats that are along the trail, which just correct it, so that, those are all officially part of the Fishing River Trail. Landscape buffer is shown on the south side of the commercial lot where it abuts the residential zoning. When they go through the commercial site plan process, they'll submit a landscape plan to landscape that area. I think in their engineering plans that they have, they've got some grading where I think they'll be grading some swales through there also as part of their mass grading. As mentioned in the October meeting, the commercial lot may be further subdivided into 2 or 3 lots. They'll share a driveway. There's a curb cut shown on Greenfield Drive here. The frontage along Greenfield Drive to the north of that location should be marked as no driveway access. That was shown on that preliminary plat that was approved in October. On the north side, 19th Street, there's a lot of trail area there, so there will be no driveways along 19th Street. Everything will key onto the intersection at Greenfield Drive. Final engineering plan revisions are being addressed by the project engineer. We expect approval in the coming days, and they'll start construction soon thereafter. Jerry Seiler submitted a subdivision agreement that allows the parkland fee to be collected at the time of building permit, which is a standard procedure that we see. Staff recommends approval of the Meadows of Greenfield 6th plat, final plat with the following conditions. 1, plat revisions to include no driveway access north of the commercial driveway identified on the plat. Fishing River Trail correction to be dedicated with the final plat. It's noted on the final plat that that will happen. And additional revisions if necessary. 2, submit a DNR land disturbance permit. 3, install and maintain sediment and erosion controls. 4, payment of the parkland fee. 5, submit a maintenance guarantee for public improvements. 6, submit as-built drawings upon completion of the public improvements. 7, record the final plat within 1 year of approval, which is expected as they'll start construction not long after the plans are approved. 8, record the covenants and restrictions document and final plat ordinance with the final plat. And 9, develop the site compliance with all city codes, conditions, requirements, plans, and payment of fees and taxes. This application will be forwarded to the Board of Aldermen for final approval after the Planning and Zoning makes their recommendation tonight. As I noted earlier, we do have Darla Holman, who is representing the applicant tonight. She's the engineering company that's preparing the plans for the public.
Okay. Thank you, David. Only question I have, David, Darla, can you hear us?
Yeah, she's on mute.
You may know the answer, David.
Okay.
Right where track C, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
The trail, like they're right behind 6. That track ends at the lot 13 line.
Mm-hmm.
The trail continue into lot 13, and does that need to also a track?
Yeah, we can look into that. You know, we believe that they're going to subdivide that lot. They'll build on part of it, but there'll be another pad site there, so it'll be subdivided, and we can look at it at that point.
Because the trail will be on that picture, will be on the...
Yeah, we can pull up the aerial map if you want to look at it. See how close we can zoom in.
The actual trail, okay. The trail is on the outside.
I will try to not.
Yep.
We can try to.
Hey, hey, David. This is Zachary.
Hi, Zach.
The trail is all off of lot 13. It's all in the private. It's all in a dedicated trail easement right now.
Okay.
I think this is Sean Coleman. I'm Darla's son and I guess coworker. I think what the question was about the track that extends through lots 12, 11, and 10, correct? And your question is that it continuing along?
Right, the question was, tracks B and C located on the west side of lots 6, 7, and 8 in that area. As it moves north to the commercial lot, track C ends at the north side of lot 6, rather than continuing north and maybe including a little bit of that southwest corner of the commercial lot.
I guess that's more of a desire for the city. Right now, it's a pretty steep graded area, given the pad for the commercial lot. So from a maintenance standpoint, I don't know how desirable that track would be for the city. I guess I'll leave that to David.
Yeah, Doyle,
My only concern was if there's a parking lot that goes right up to the edge of the trail, there's no buffer.
that won't happen.
Okay.
Yeah, that won't happen. There's quite a bit of slope change.
Gotcha.
If you look at the screen here, Doyle, this is that notch, which is
Right.
corresponds to this notch. As we move north,
About right.
notice the trail goes further and further off of that property.
Okay.
I don't quite know where these line up. I don't have it to scale. I can't zoom any further
Right.
in. But there is a point at which that trail moves far enough off of that lot that we
Not gonna be an
wouldn't request that additional trail.
The same with, sorry? Yeah. Same with the east side of lot 13, where tract A doesn't go into lot 13. Does it need to?
This tract,
Yeah.
correct. Tract A will be retained by the HOA as an open space tract. That won't be dedicated to the city.
Gotcha. Okay. That's all I had.
To follow up on that, the tract A, does not have sidewalk on it. Is that something that the city is okay with?
No, there is sidewalk proposed to be constructed along Greenfield Drive.
Okay.
Good deal.
You don't have a copy of the engineering plans. That shows up in the engineering plans. I did note in the staff report that a sidewalk would be built. It will be a 5-foot sidewalk
5 foot.
rather than 4.
Will
Okay,
it
good.
go all the way through lot 13 up to the trail?
Yes,
Okay.
eventually, yes.
Right.
But the sidewalk that borders, lot 1 on Greenfield Drive would be just a 4-foot sidewalk, and then
Well,
you'd transition, or?
it will be 5 foot along the Greenfield Drive side, and then
Okay,
at the corner we'll transition to 4 as it moves along Foxtail. I think it's Foxtail Drive. Yeah,
Yes.
Foxtail Drive.
okay.
Commercial lot, is that zoned already, or how
Yes.
does that work?
Yes, it was zoned over already. There was at a previous planning and zoning meeting in 2020, that whole property was actually zoned multifamily.
Multifamily?
Yeah, and we had an applicant submit a plan for an amended multifamily plan that was different than the original approved plan that was not approved. The owner came back with a plan to, rather than propose multifamily, propose to rezone from multifamily to single family and neighborhood commercial in the same layout in the same line that we see here. The lot 1 area was
Right.
rezoned to neighborhood commercial, and the rest of it was rezoned to R1. And that was done last year, probably
Right.
in May or June.
Yeah. Show my ignorance, what is neighborhood commercial?
There's a long list,
Okay.
but
Need to know tonight then.
yeah, you don't need to know tonight. I guess the difference would be we have C, which is general commercial,
Right,
which are uses that you might find along the highway. So,
correct.
I think gas station, I don't want to misquote myself, but, a gas station, a pilot truck center
Right,
would be allowed in the C, general commercial, but not in the neighborhood commercial. Restaurant with a drive-through is allowed in the C district and also in the neighborhood commercial district. There's a long list of things that are permitted uses in both of those, and I can provide that to you if you'd like.
All right.
Chuck, can you hear us? Do you have anything to add or questions?
Yes, I can hear you, and no, I do not have anything to add.
Good, thanks. Any other comments? Okay. Comments, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve with staff comments.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries as well.
And on that one, we had a motion to approve by Paula, and we had a second by Wyeth. Sorry, Chuck, Wyeth beat you to the punch on
Nope,
that.
that's no problem.
I just want to make sure in case I didn't know if you heard him or not. I wanted to clarify that.
No, that's fine.
All right. Any old business? It's not on here, Dave.
No old business.
Okay.
And a few extra enclosures that you might have looked at or not. We do a yearly building report that was updated. We provided that, and then I just came across an article I thought might be interesting about how retail landscape might change due to the COVID. So, and I'm sorry about the large file size. I didn't realize how big the file agenda packet was until today. Hopefully that wasn't a problem for anybody.
I don't know if this falls under old business or not, but I did mention it at the last meeting about some of these off-premise signs that we're seeing.
Yes, the Giambalvo sign.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, MoDOT it was removed as of Friday.
It was moved.
And and then they moved. Yeah, they got a temporary permit and they moved it onto their property outside of right of way. I didn't see the exact location, but I know it's more on their vacant lot.
20 feet west, 10 feet south.
So are you telling me they can get a permit from the state to put that up there, even though it's against our sign ordinances?
No, that's not what. No, I was saying that MoDOT they had previously located it in right of way, and so MoDOT removed it. MoDOT actually physically removed it.
Okay.
So the developer owns that property, and so they had submitted a temporary sign permit application to place that back out there on the lot.
Well, maybe I'm just not understanding it. So you're saying that's legal with our sign ordinance for that to be there?
Well, the developer,
It's still an off-site sign.
Yes, the developer owns that lot.
Aye.
So how does a temporary work? They just come in here and fill out
a form, pay a fee, and have it up for a period of time, and then remove it.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I like that, to be honest with you, because that's saying anybody that's got property, has a business and owns other property, they can put a sign up there?
Not anybody who owns another business. We had somebody that was out of town one time come in and post signs around town, and that was not legal to do that.
So this one is because he owns that land as well as.
And it's part of the shop's development.
Okay.
As opposed to another property owner in that development. Or let's say if it was all, as originally where it was all the same property that Dairy Queen is on, let's say Dairy Queen owned all of that, it wouldn't wouldn't fly because that would be Dairy Queen's property.
Does Giambalvo's own that building, or are they just leasing that building? So they don't own they don't own that property.
The developer owns Giambalvo's.
Right.
They actually own that. They didn't at one point in time, and it closed down for a period of time. The developer made a decision to purchase the business and reopen the business in that same location.
Is there intent to have a monument signed at some point to alleviate this problem?
I asked about that. I don't think so. Not at this point in time. But it was a temporary sign permit that was submitted.
Is it a
Not a
one-time,
Yeah, not a permanent sign.
is it a one-time temporarily, or can it, is it a one-time temporary?
Well, the way our temporary sign permits, when you get a temporary sign permit, allows it for a certain period of time, you gotta remove it for the same amount of time, and then you reapply for another temporary sign
Do
permit.
you know how long this one was for?
30 day, you could do up to 30 days at a time.
Okay.
And typically, that's what we see, as opposed to, well, I wanna put a sign up for one day, that doesn't make much sense. So we see chunks of time.
I've got one, I don't remember the subdivision's going right over there by, Dollar General.
The senior housing?
Yes.
Project?
I don't remember the name of it. Is that common to have such a, I mean, it's a muddy mess right now. Is that common to have construction going with no concrete, no improvements to the property first?
Well, I think what they're doing is start the building, rather than tear up their internal driveways with truck traffic. They'll do their curbs and parking areas after they do some of those buildings. Now, you'll see at at the entrance to the property, they'll have I'm forgetting the name of it, but a gravel entrance.
Right.
And that shows up on their plans, and that's to help with mud, to keep mud off the street. Yeah, and then they periodically have to renew that gravel. It's a larger gravel, and it's to collect mud.
So the only reason they don't do the concrete, or we'll say concrete, in advance is because they're worried of tearing it up?
I believe so.
They
did a similar thing when Price Chopper went in. If you remember when Price Chopper went in?
I was trying to remember, but I don't.
Yeah, the board issued it. For that, it took an at-risk permit because that street is it's a public street. Watson Drive was a public improvement, but they didn't want the heavy, concrete trucks messing with the base for Watson Drive, so they were allowed to do an at-risk permit to at least get the concrete floor of Price Chopper in. This project up here, it's not all public improvements. The drive is it's their private drive.
Right. It's just making a muddy mess on the road there, so.
And they have to clean it, try and keep the mud off. It's not always perfect, but,
Right.
It does take some maintenance to address.
Gotcha. All right, that's all I had. Anything else? Motion to adjourn? Anyone?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we're adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.